welcome to Friday. This probably seems weird because I'm talking and I'm not touching anything and there's a camera, especially because I can do this and I can show you the road and I can go this and come back to us. We bought a dash cam, and I mean, it's useful for insurance purposes, sure, but we also got it because of vlogging, because then there's just always a camera in the car. You don't have to think about it. It records both the front and the back at the same time. It seems really, you know, honestly quite convenient. And Dan's with us today.
Hello.
We wanted to get a bite to eat, and Lindsay is unfortunately working, but Dan was available, so we're gonna go up to Mod Pizza and get some pizza. But we wanted to get the dash cam in time for the trip, because we're taking the trip on Sunday and we're going to be in the car for a million hours. And for one, it'd be nice to just record stuff without having to like tell Mal, here, take the camera and film this thing I'm about to say. But then the other thing is that we can also make really cool time lapses, because with the SD card I have in there, it should be able to record like 12 hours at a time. So we can actually record basically the entire trip and make some neat time-lapse video of driving 1,000 miles, which, now that I think about it, might be too long.
Is it really going to be 1,000 miles?
Yeah, from here to Appleton is like somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 miles one way.
You should find a royalty-free version of I Would Walk 1,000 Miles.
A MIDI version. Beep,
yeah.
boop, boop. So yeah, hopefully this will work well. Once we're done and we get home, I'm gonna dump this footage to look at it, and then I'll talk more about the camera we got. If anyone watching is like, oh snap, this is cool and I want one, especially because this camera was way more affordable than I thought it was gonna be. I did a bunch of research on dash cams recently because I was thinking about getting one, and I was kind of like, I bet they're really expensive, and some of them are, but also a lot of them aren't. They're pretty cheap. And as a bonus, a lot of insurance companies will give you a discount on your auto insurance if you use a dash cam. To be honest, I haven't looked into if ours does that or not, but I think they do. I feel like they would. I feel like they would. We should look into it, because we might be able to get a discount just for using this thing, which is honestly pretty cool. Everybody wants a... Oh my god, there's a line.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we're not gonna eat at Mod Pizza. That's the problem with Mod Pizza specifically, is that everyone has to make an entire pizza.
Yeah.
And if there's more than 3 people in line, it's not a good time. Okay, other options? Apparently Mission Barbecue is doing seasonal sides now, which is something new, because like they have baked beans and mac and cheese and french fries, but now they're doing strawberry shortcake.
And smoked corn on the cob.
I know, but that's just, sorry, that's not something I would have ever put with pulled pork sandwich. I mean, I'm sure it's good though.
It's dessert.
Yeah, it's like you get a dessert instead of a side.
Yeah.
So this is what the camera looks like at night. There's infrared lights on the inside cabin camera, and
we're filming a ghost show.
Yeah, because it's infrared, it's, you know, very ghost-like, and from what I can tell, because there's a little tiny screen, it looks like it's mostly shooting in this area and it's not really getting our faces. It seems like it would do a lot better if like you were driving alone, because then it would be, you know, facing you. But I don't know, it's for what it is, it's pretty good. And honestly, you could remedy that problem by just buying some infrared lights and putting them in your car. And I've read a little bit about it. It's not very expensive to do so. So if you really want to, you can buy a light, and it doesn't. There's no physical light in the car. Like, it's just kind of like dim and red, but it lights up the entire cabin of the car, and that's neat. And the way it looks like on the road is pretty cool. Like, you can still tell what's going on. I don't know, I'm sure there's other cameras that do it better. One of the things that you kind of lose by getting a dual lens system is that the quality of the picture, I mean, it's still great, but it's not as good as you can get on a single lens camera. So like, if you just want to film the road, there are better and cheaper options. But if you want a dual lens camera, I mean, from everything I researched, like, this is the best one to get. I spent like 2 days trying to figure out exactly what to get. There's like one other option that's better than this, but the price jump is like about 2 to 3-fold. Like, it's like $400 something, and I was like, it's really not worth it, because I looked at other people's footage of this camera, and I was like, that seems fine, you know, for what I want it to do. It seems good. So I've just had a chance to actually look at the footage that we shot, which you guys have just been watching, so it's nothing new to you. But I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest, because this dash cam was fairly inexpensive. Like I said, it's been a while since I've looked into dash cams at all, and I assumed that they were all still really expensive, and they're not. This one was about $150. I think I got it a little bit cheaper. I think they're normally closer to $200. But this is the Transcend Drive Pro 520, and like I said, I'm pretty happy with the thing. It films both front at the front of the car with a 1080p camera, and then it films the back with a 720p camera, both running at 30 frames a second. And the text at the bottom of the screen during those clips is something that can be enabled or disabled depending on if you want it. I mean, if you're using it for vlogging and insurance purposes, you'd probably leave it on there and then just crop it out in the final video if you're truly interested. This is a pretty good device because it also has like Wi-Fi. So if you wanted to, like if something happened, you know, and you were running your dash cam, you could use Wi-Fi. You have to download their app or whatever, and then you could immediately send the clip to your phone if you wanted to post it or send it to your insurance company or whatever. It also comes with a 32 gig card, which from what I'm estimating would probably record about 3 hours of footage. And that's, when I say 3 hours, I mean 3 hours of both the front and the rear camera together. Now, what I did is I got a different card. I got a 128 gig card, and these devices, I'll just go ahead and warn you if you choose to get this device, they tell you that this device does not work with cards bigger than 32 gigs. And maybe that's true, except that when I was reading reviews, there were people that said, actually, we got it to work with 128 gig cards. It's apparently very finicky, but the card that I bought, which is a Samsung Evo card, I'll link to it in the description along with this, does work, because I formatted it and it works fine. Just be aware that if you're going to use it, you have to format that card as FAT32. It's really easy on a Mac. You just open Disk Utility, choose the device, and say, I want to format this as MS-DOS. And it's like, cool, done. I stuck it in here and it worked fine. So these, it says that you can only use 32 gig cards, but I'm using a 128, and I estimate that I'm probably going to be able to get about 12 hours of footage, which is fantastic. But, I mean, maybe you only need the 32 gig card. And this thing does overwrite your old stuff, so it makes either 1, 3, or 5 minute clips, and then once it's filled up the card entirely, so it's recorded all 3 hours, then it just goes back to the top and keeps going. So if you're using it for insurance purposes, it's really great because you don't have to do anything to it. You can just always leave it in your car. You don't have to empty it or reformat it or anything like that. And if something happens, you'd be like, oh crap, now I have it. The thing I was curious about is I didn't know how the emergency button on the camera worked, because on the bottom of the camera there's a big red button, and that's the emergency button. And all I knew is that if something was like, oh, I need to keep this, then you hit that button. So what happens from the the file storage side is actually really nice. When you open it up on your computer, it puts every single video file in a folder. But if you had pressed this button, it takes whatever that video clip was, that 1, 3, or 5 minute video clip, and it puts it into a separate folder. Now obviously for insurance purposes, or if like there's a wreck, that's nice because, oh crap, there was a wreck, button, and then you know exactly where that is. For vlogging purposes, it actually is pretty nice too, because if you're on a long car trip and you're recording everything, but you say something like, oh wait, this is something I want to include in the vlog, or if you're getting ready to say something that you want to include in the vlog, you just reach up and hit this button, and then the next thing you say is going to be in a separate folder, so you don't have to go digging through the entire car ride to find it. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm really satisfied with this. Like I said, you could get a more expensive device, but it's a lot more expensive. And if you really want like the best quality, you'd have to get a really, really nice front-facing camera and buy 2 of them and try and set it up like that. And that's a lot of effort. This thing is very inexpensive for what it is. It looks pretty good. It sounds pretty good. And I'm happy with it. So I'm really excited to take this with us on Sunday for the road trip. I think it'll be a good addition to our repertoire of cameras. Like I said before, if you're interested in this or the memory card that I bought to go with it, I'll put links to those in the description box down below. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. As far as work goes, we are doing really good. Mal has just a tiny bit left on her painting, and she'll be done with it. I have got a fairly good bit of recording to do left, but I'm going to get either all of it or most of it done tonight. And we should be done with everything tomorrow, which means that we will be getting in bed on time tomorrow night, get a full night's rest, and be able to wake up Sunday early morning, good to go. It's going to be not quite down to the wire, but it'll be close. I think it'll be fun. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?